Ms. Ramirez from the FITDIDWF. Go ahead, please.
Merci. Distinguished delegates of the 112th International Labour Conference, please receive greetings on behalf of the International Domestic Workers Federation, a federation that represents over 500,000 domestic workers organized into 88 domestic workers' unions in 68 countries around the globe. We welcome the report of the General Director, and we also welcome the inclusion of the discussion on decent work and the care economy in the International Labour Conference agenda. Care is the foundation upon which life exists and is necessary for humans, societies, and economies to function, but it is also crucial for the future of decent work. Care consists both on paid and unpaid. It includes direct and indirect care, as rarely stated in the ILO report on decent work and care economy. The current social organization of care reflects profound inequalities that are rooted in slavery and disenfranchisement of people from the global south. Such inequalities are expressed through differentiation of social and economic status and positions of power that are often used to exploit the labor of racialized women, girls, migrant women, and migrant working in informal employment. The unequal organization of care, it is both a driver and an outcome of poverty and structural inequalities, with implications for the rights and the well-being of those who provide and receive care. Domestic workers are a key pillar of the care economy. Considering only those who are only employed directly by the household, they account for 25% of all care workers globally. Around the world, there are 75.6 million domestic workers that are aged 15 years and over. Domestic workers have a long tradition of organization and mobilization to recognize care work performed at the household level as work and the rights of workers. This legacy informs the current conceptualization of care work as work, which is also ingrained in the ILO Convention 189 on decent work for domestic workers, promoting decent work for domestic workers. C189 must be at the core of any care economy agenda and policy at the level of the national level. Despite the relevant contributions that domestic workers provide to the care economy, societies continue to place a low social and economic value on domestic work. It is often considered unskilled and an extension of women's unpaid care work. Compared to those other wage workers, domestic workers tend to have lower wages, fewer benefits, and fewer legal and social protections. Very, very few domestic workers enjoy employment contracts. They usually have no maternity leave, health care, or pension provisions. Temporary migration policies lead to a structural suppression of domestic workers' labor rights. The undervaluation and under-recognition of domestic workers must change to reflect their invaluable role in supporting household economies, societies, and enable them to enjoy their human rights. ILO Convention 189 sets the minimum standards for decent work for domestic workers. Only 36 countries have ratified this convention, which reflects how challenging it is to reform the sector. C189 should be recognized as a central pillar of any national care policy. Domestic work is care work and should be fully explicitly recognized as workers, as part of the care workforce and as care providers, covered by national labor codes and protected in equal conditions. Pathways to domestic workers' formalization should be prioritized, and their skills acquired through either training or experience should be recognized, valued, and fairly remunerated. Care must be seen as a human right. The right to self-care, the right to receive and provide care must be done in conditions that uphold decent working conditions. Care should be recognized as a public good, operating on principles of solidarity, equity and universality, and the leadership of the state. Rights-based migration pathways should empower and protect domestic workers through open work permits covered by labor and social protection regulations, while offering permanent residency status in the country of destination and family reunification avenues. Bilateral agreements should be based upon C-189 decent work on domestic workers standards. Migrant domestic workers should have access to core labor standards such as freedom of association, non-discrimination, occupational health and safety, fair wages, access to justice, mechanisms, and protections from gender-based violence. Finally, the domestic workers thank the leadership of the ILO on the work that has done on care, but is still much work ahead for the office. And the office should continue leading the development of standards on the care economy. We often say in our movement that care work, domestic work, is the work that makes all other work possible. I ask you to always think, care for those who care for you. Thank you.